It's 2011, and Chen Nian sits at a desk in the Yaohong College Entrance Examination Repeat Center, surrounded by a dozen other students cramming for the exam that will decide their futures. 10 science classes, endless practice papers, and the clock is ticking. Less than 100 days remain. The center is packed with students who have returned for one last chance. They push themselves to the edge, minds sharp, bodies tired, hearts racing. But alongside the ambition, there is a darker undercurrent: bullying, whispered threats, shoved papers, silent glares. Even in a place meant to prepare minds, cruelty finds its way. Chen Nian has seen it all: the whispered taunts, the sudden shove, the mocking notes left on desks. Every day, the weight of expectations presses down harder, and the shadow of those who pick on others grows longer. At a table near the back, Chen Nian sits beside Hu Xiaode, a quiet boy who keeps mostly to himself. They are half friends, more out of proximity than choice. Hu Xiaode doesn't speak much, doesn't join in the chatter, doesn't laugh at the jokes. He takes a bottle of beverage from the box under the desk, twists the cap, and walks toward the balcony, alone. He drinks in silence, his mind elsewhere, while the rest of the class bends over test papers, scribbling answers, trying to will themselves into perfection. Chen Nian returns to class without hesitation, her focus only on the endless sea of questions before her. She ignores the English listening exercises that play softly in the background, convinced that she doesn't need friends here. Every hour, every thought is devoted to one goal: achieving high scores on the college entrance examination.
Let both sides join in creating a new endeavor.
The only path she sees to lifting her family out of hardship. Social connections, small talk, even sympathy. They are distractions she cannot afford. What she does not realize is that the unfinished drink bottle Hu Xiaode carried has become a silent relic of his last moments. A sudden crash interrupts the classroom. Hu Xiaode leaps from the high floor. Students fumble for their phones, snapping pictures, murmuring that the stress of the exam must have broken him. They whisper that his grades had declined, that he had been bullied before, that no one really saw him struggling until now. The classroom buzzes with shock and curiosity, but no one moves to help. Chen Nian freezes at first, heart racing, staring at Hu Xiaode lying still on the ground, the life drained from him in an instant. But she forces herself forward, removing her school uniform and using it to cover his face, shielding him from the eyes of the indifferent crowd. Chen Nian's mind is sharp. She excels in every subject. A returning student in the repeat class, trained to survive this brutal academic battlefield. When the police arrive to question the witnesses, she speaks quietly, with measured words. She doesn't know anyone here. She had no friends. She answers their questions without emotion, her focus never straying from the exam, from the future she fights to secure. Returning to the classroom, Chen Nian's eyes were drawn to the stool where Hu Xiaode once stood. The surface is hollowed out, a small, cruel mark left behind, and for a moment she can almost see him there, scanning the room like she does now, searching for a place in a world that seems determined to push him out. Fear coils in her stomach. She wants help, but there is no one to turn to, no one who can stop what is coming. The question burns in her mind. Can Hu Xiaode's tragedy repeat itself? It doesn't take long for her fears to materialize. The queen bee of the school, Wei Lai, with her loyal gang, zeroes in on Chen Nian. She becomes their new target, enduring taunts and physical harassment. Her school life slipping into a battlefield where survival depends on alertness, speed, and endurance. One afternoon, Chen Nian witnesses Liu Beishan, known to everyone as Xiao Bei, cornered by a gang of thugs. She reaches for her phone to call the police, but the thugs notice her interference. They snatch her, pinning her in the alley, and force her into a humiliating act. A kiss with Xiao Bei meant to degrade them both. The attacks escalate. Wei Lai and her friends grow bolder, spreading vicious lies about Chen Nian's family, turning classmates against her and striking her when teachers are distracted. Every day feels like a challenge, and walking through the school halls tests her strength and courage. Finally, the police get involved. Detectives Zheng Ye and Lao Yang investigate Hu Xiaodi's death and soon learn that Chen Nian has reported the harassment she faces. The law intervenes. Wei Lai and her closest allies are suspended. And for a brief moment, Chen Nian feels a glimmer of relief, but soon became short-lived. The three expelled bullies, burning with rage and hungry for revenge, chase after her wielding box cutters and carrying a cage full of rats. Trapped and desperate, Chen Nian runs to Xiaobei's house, begging for his protection so she can keep studying for the college entrance exam in safety. Without hesitation, he agrees, and from that day on, he walks her to and from school, watching over her every step. As days pass, their bond grows. In the shadow of fear and the pressure of exams, they find moments of understanding, silent solidarity, and shared courage. Chen Nian begins to realize that while the world may try to break her, she is not entirely alone. In Xiaobei, she finds both shield and companion. A small light in the darkness that threatens to consume her. And yet the question lingers. How long can safety last when danger waits in every corridor, every classroom, every corner of the school? It doesn't take long for all hell to break loose. Xiaobei is called in for a police lineup and ends up stuck at the station, leaving Chen Nian unprotected. The moment he's gone, the bullies seize their chance. They corner her in a deserted hallway, pulling her hair, slapping her, and stripping her, all while filming every moment with cruel grins on their faces. Panic and shame rise in her chest, but there's no one to stop them. Her world narrows to the pain, the humiliation, and the cold lens of the camera. When Xiaobei finally gets released, he races back, heart hammering, only to find Chen Nian slumped against the wall, bleeding and trembling, her uniform torn and her hair in clumps. Without hesitation, he wraps a jacket around her shoulders, leads her to a safe room, and helps her shave what remains of her hair, both to clean the wounds and to reclaim some sense of control. When Chen Nian hesitates, Xiaobei shaves his own head in solidarity, a silent promise that she will never face this alone again. The day of the college entrance exam arrives, and the skies open in a heavy downpour. The rain triggers a sudden landslide, trapping students and staff and revealing something horrifying. Wei Lai's body lies among the mud and rubble, broken and lifeless. Panic spreads through the school as detectives arrive, questioning students, searching for answers. Chen Nian's name surfaces immediately. She sits in the interview room, soaked, exhausted and trembling, facing Zheng Ye and Lao Yang. They ask her why she didn't report the video, why she didn't protect herself or come forward when she could. Chen Nian meets their gaze calmly and simply says she wants to survive the exam, to escape the small town, to leave for Beijing, and finally be free from this nightmare. The detectives exchange wary glances, unsure if she is telling the truth or hiding something darker. As the police escort Chen Nian through the rain-slicked streets, she feels the weight of everything pressing down on her. The humiliation, the exams, the chaos that has followed her like a shadow. Suddenly, Xiaobei grabs her hand, his grip firm and urgent, and they bolt into the darkness, heart pounding. Chen Nian follows him blindly, trusting him even though fear claws at her. Once they find a quiet alley, Xiaobei stops and looks at her with raw determination. He explains that the only way she can survive, the only way she can go to college, is if he takes the blame for Wei Lai's death. It was terrifying, but Chen Nian knows he is right. Reluctantly, she agrees, and together they set a plan in motion. Xiaobei stages an attack, pretending to assault her in front of the authorities, his eyes full of pain as the police rush in and arrest him. Chen Nian keeps silent, knowing it is the only way to protect the future they both desperately want. The truth behind Wei Lai's death is darker than anyone suspects. Before all of this, Wei Lai had begged Chen Nian not to report the video to the police, her words dripping with malice and desperation. When Chen Nian refuses and pushes her in a moment of anger, Wei Lai tumbles down the stairs, her head striking the railing. She dies instantly. Now, in the present, both Chen Nian and Xiaobei face interrogation. They stick to their story, insisting that the only time they ever met was when Xiaobei attacked her. Days pass in unbearable tension until Chen Nian finally receives her exam results. She barely has time to breathe before the detective informs her that Xiaobei has been sentenced to death. She later admits her role in Wei Lai's death, the truth spilling out in a rush of fear and relief. Then, the detective tells her it was all a lie. He never intended for Xiaobei to be executed. The confession was meant to ensure both of them would receive lighter sentences. Shock and relief mix in Chen Nian's chest as the weight of her guilt shifts, replaced by a fragile hope. The detective takes her to see Xiaobei in the holding cell. They sit together, silent understanding passing between them. They agree to accept the plea deal, their futures uncertain but together. As the bars of the cell clang shut around them, a strange sense of calm settles. They are no longer alone. Whatever comes next, punishment, redemption, or survival, they will face it side by side. Two souls bound by tragedy, courage, and a shared hope for freedom. A few years later, Chen Nian walks through the quiet streets of her city, her arms full of books. She is no longer the frightened girl who endured endless bullying, no longer the student who had to hide and fight to survive. She's a teacher now, calm, confident, and determined to make a difference. As she rounds the corner of the school, she notices a small figure lagging behind, shoulders hunched, eyes darting nervously. A boy, no older than 12, carries his backpack too heavily and walks with the weight of invisible chains. Chen Nian slows, her heart tightening, and gently calls his name. The boy startles, then relaxes when she smiles at him. Without a word, she falls into step beside him, guiding him home. From a short distance, Xiaobei follows, quiet and protective, like a shadow who has always been there. His presence is invisible to everyone else, but Chen Nian feels it, the reassurance of someone who knows the pain of being hunted, humiliated, and left alone. They walk together, a silent promise between them that no child should ever face what they did. If you want more gripping stories like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new chapter of unforgettable drama.